You have heard the phrase high body count, but have you ever wondered how it affects her emotionally? And more importantly, how it might affect you? Every woman with a high body count leaves psychological fingerprints that she cannot erase. These are not physical marks, but emotional imprints that can shape her behavior, reactions, and even her approach to relationships. And here is the thing, most men miss them entirely because they do not know what to look for. But trust me, once you spot these 7 hidden signs, you will see through her, and you will begin to understand why things feel the way they do. But I will warn you right now, this is not the kind of thing you can unsee once you have learned it. It is not just about the physical past, it is the emotional consequences that come with it. And if you do not catch these signs, you could easily find yourself caught in an emotionally manipulative dynamic without even realizing it. Stay with me until the end because sign number 4 is the one that will completely blow your mind. It is the most manipulative behavior pattern I have ever seen, and it is happening right under your nose, even if you think everything is fine. If you skip ahead, you will miss out on the one crucial sign that could save you from years of emotional manipulation. Trust me, this is one piece of information you need to know if you want to protect yourself. So let us get right into it. Sign number 1 is the first major red flag that you will notice when dealing with a woman who has a high body count. It is subtle, but it is there, and if you do not catch it early, it could be the reason why you find yourself emotionally drained and confused. Sign number 1, she is too comfortable with closeness too soon. You may think it is a positive trait. After all, confidence and intimacy is usually seen as a good thing, right? But when she is overly confident about being physically close too quickly, it is a major red flag. Most men mistake this for a positive trait. She seems easygoing, confident, and open about intimacy. But what you do not see is the deeper issue behind that confidence. A woman who has been with many men often loses the natural emotional barriers that should be there, especially in the beginning of a relationship. Think about it. The early stages of a relationship should be about getting to know each other, building emotional intimacy, and taking things slow. But for a woman who has had many partners, that process gets shortened. Emotional boundaries get crossed so many times that they no longer exist. Physical closeness becomes mechanical rather than meaningful. She will not blush, she will not get nervous, and there will not be that natural feeling of vulnerability when you get physically close. That is because her experience has taught her that intimacy is commonplace rather than special. For her, it is just another interaction. It is no longer sacred. Now, this does not mean she is not capable of deep emotional connections, but the reality is that the more she has been with, the more difficult it becomes to truly create new emotional connections. Her past relationships and the way they ended have made her emotionally detached from intimacy. She may treat physical closeness casually, without the deeper emotional buildup that most women experience when they are bonding with someone new. This lack of emotional depth can lead to emotional stagnation. Without emotional vulnerability, a relationship can quickly turn into something routine rather than something meaningful. This is a huge indicator that she has been through enough emotional ups and downs that she no longer connects physical intimacy with emotional bonding. That is sign number 1, and it is a warning sign you need to be aware of. She might look like she is just confident, but deep down, her ability to bond emotionally has been compromised. Sign number 2, emotional walls that never come down. This is the second sign, and it is perhaps the most telling of them all. Have you ever felt like you were with someone, physically present, yet still emotionally miles away? Like no matter how close you got, there was always something that kept her at arm's length. Well, let me tell you, this is a red flag, and it is more common than you think. Here is the thing, women with a high body count have often developed sophisticated emotional defenses that make real emotional connection nearly impossible. She may seem like she is there with you, physically present, smiling, engaging in conversations, and even participating in relationship activities. But the truth is, there is always a part of her that remains unreachable. She may perform intimacy, but she does not feel it. You might think that time will allow her to open up, but this emotional distance is not about being shy or taking time to trust someone. No, it is a fundamental inability to connect emotionally. This emotional unavailability is deeply rooted in her past experiences, where she has learned that attachment leads to pain, and in turn, detachment became her coping mechanism. You see, when a woman has been with many partners, her emotional walls become so fortified that it is nearly impossible to break them down. It is as if she has been guarding herself for so long that she does not know how to truly open up anymore. Even when you think things are going well, you will find her retreating, pulling back, and avoiding deeper connection. Now, I know what you are thinking. Maybe it is just because she is not ready to open up yet, right? But no. If she has been through a string of relationships and has never truly allowed someone to get close, this becomes a pattern. She is not emotionally available in a way that matters. When you share something deep and meaningful about yourself, her response will likely be appropriate but shallow. It will sound like she is listening, but there is a noticeable lack of emotional investment. It is one-sided emotional dynamics. You are giving your all and she is barely reciprocating. This might seem subtle, but trust me, it is a massive indicator of someone who has been emotionally burned before. She does not let anyone get too close because emotionally, she has been taught that vulnerability equals loss. What is more troubling is how this manifests in relationship conflicts. When issues arise, she does not engage in healthy communication to work through them. Instead, she either shuts down completely, or worse, ends the relationship without a second thought. Why? Because she has no emotional tools for handling conflicts. Her pattern has been to move on, rather than fix things. So when she says, "Let us just talk later," or "I do not want to talk about it right now," that is a huge red flag. If she avoids addressing emotional issues, it is because she does not have the tools to work through the hard stuff, and her defense mechanisms have become so ingrained that she defaults to emotional distance every time. This is not just a temporary issue. This emotional distance is not something that is going to disappear with time. It is a permanent pattern shaped by years of emotional experiences and coping strategies that have been developed to protect her from the hurt she has faced in the past. Sign number 3, an unusual number of male friends. This one is subtle, but it is so important. If you notice that the woman you are with seems to have way more male friends than female friends, this should immediately raise a red flag. Now, you might be thinking, well, maybe she just gets along better with guys, or she is just friendly. But here's the thing, the psychology behind this behavior often goes much deeper. Women who have had a lot of relationships tend to maintain larger networks of male acquaintances, many of whom are former lovers or men who are clearly interested in more than just friendship. This is not just about being friendly with exes or having male friends who she is truly close to. It is about validation, seeking. Women who have been with many men tend to depend on male attention as a source of self-worth. If you notice her receiving constant messages from multiple guys, her phone constantly buzzing with attention, that is a problem. When you ask her about these guys, she will brush it off and say, "Oh, they are just friends." But let us be real. You know, these are not just friends. The frequency and the tone of the messages tell a completely different story. These friends are often emotional fillers, men she keeps in her orbit to validate her attractiveness and to keep her options open. Now, this is not about being friends with exes in a mature, healthy way. This is about maintaining a network of male validation so that if things go south in her current relationship, she has immediate backup options available. And what is worse, many of these men have been emotionally involved with her in the past, so she is emotionally tied to them, even if she insists there is nothing going on. What is going on here? Why is she doing this? It is simple. She equates male attention with her self-worth. Over time, she has learned that getting attention from multiple men makes her feel desired and validated, so she keeps this constant flow of attention coming. This pattern is subconscious, but it becomes a coping mechanism for someone who has never learned to be emotionally secure on her own. It is also important to note that women who engage in this pattern often struggle to form deep platonic relationships with other women. Why? Because female friendships require emotional depth and mutual vulnerability. Women who have been through many partners often shy away from the emotional intimacy required for genuine female friendships. Instead, they gravitate towards male attention, where validation comes easily. And here is the kicker: her inability to set clear emotional boundaries with men is what creates an environment where you cannot trust her. Even though she is in a committed relationship with you, she might still be emotionally invested in these former lovers, old flames, or men who still carry a torch for her. That is where the problem lies. There is too much emotional leakage, and you are left to wonder, does she truly belong to you, or is she keeping her emotional energy spread across multiple connections? Now, do not get me wrong. Friendships with the opposite sex can absolutely exist in healthy relationships. But when the pattern starts to look like she is emotionally dependent on male validation, that is when you need to start paying attention. These friendships are not about genuine connection. They are about validation, ego boosts, and keeping her options open in case the current relationship does not work out. It is manipulation by emotional convenience. The emotional reality is that she has not learned how to commit emotionally to one person. She needs this constant influx of attention from multiple men to feel secure. This makes it impossible for her to invest emotionally in a deep, meaningful connection with you, and you will find yourself fighting for her attention while she keeps half her heart attached to someone else. So what does this mean for you? It is time to recognize that if she is keeping these emotional attachments alive, there is a fundamental flaw in her ability to commit. You deserve someone who is emotionally available for you and only you. If you are constantly competing for her emotional energy with her male friends, it is time to reevaluate what this relationship really offers you. Sign number 4, she uses closeness as currency. Now, this one is subtle, yet it is powerful and manipulative. If you have ever felt like intimacy is a tool in the relationship, a way to get something she wants, this is the sign you need to pay attention to. When a woman has been through many relationships, she learns how to leverage physical closeness to get what she wants. This does not necessarily mean that she is consciously aware of it, but it becomes a strategic behavior over time. She starts to view physical affection as something to be traded for emotional or material gain, rather than as a natural expression of love or affection. Here is how it works. When things go well in the relationship, she will be affectionate, loving, and intimate. But the moment she wants something, whether it is a favor, an apology, or to get her way in an argument, she withdraws affection. She might pull back emotionally or physically as a form of control. On the flip side, when she wants something from you, that is when she will initiate physical closeness, a hug, a kiss, or sex, because she knows it is the quickest way to get what she wants. This is not love. This is calculated behavior, learned through her extensive past experiences with men. Over time, she has figured out how to use physical affection as a manipulation tool. She knows exactly when to advance and pull back, and she uses that timing to maintain control over you, keeping you emotionally invested while she gets what she wants. When a woman treats closeness as something transactional, something that can be used to manipulate outcomes, it is not just unhealthy, it is damaging. You might feel like you are connecting with her when she pulls you in, but then you realize after you have given her what she wanted, she distances herself again. The problem is this cycle can continue, leaving you constantly wondering if her affection is genuine or if it is just part of the game she has learned to play. The psychological reality here is that she has disconnected intimacy from emotional bonding. In a healthy relationship, intimacy is about mutual vulnerability, emotional connection, and trust. But in her mind, intimacy has become a tool, an asset to be used in getting her needs met without genuine emotional involvement. Real connection has been replaced with a negotiation. Who can get what from whom and at what cost? For example, she might withdraw affection when she is angry or upset, not because she is not in the mood, but because she has learned that it gets results. You will start to notice the pattern. When she wants something, that is when the intimacy flows. When she is trying to prove a point or extract something from you, that is when affection dissolves into silence. You might even feel guilty when she withholds affection, wondering what you did wrong, but the truth is, it is not about you. It is about the pattern she has built through countless experiences with men. She knows how to manipulate your emotions to get what she needs, whether it is forgiveness, attention, or material things. So what does this mean for you? Well, first and foremost, you have to recognize that this is a toxic pattern. The more you accept this behavior, the more you are allowing her to manipulate your emotional investments. You deserve a relationship where love and intimacy are real, not transactional. If physical affection becomes a way for her to get something out of you, it is time to recognize that the relationship is in a dangerous territory. Sign number 5, she knows exactly how to play men. This sign, it is one of the most sophisticated behaviors I have ever witnessed. It is mind-blowing how well some women can read and manipulate men emotionally. And the worst part, it feels so natural you might not even realize it is happening. When a woman has been through many relationships, she has learned the nuances of male behavior like a professional. She knows exactly what to say to make you feel like the most special man in the world. But here is the catch. It is too perfect. Her compliments, her actions, they seem to hit all the right psychological targets. The problem is, they feel practiced. It is as if she is too good at it. And that is when you know something is not right. She has an unusual understanding of male insecurities. She knows exactly how to make you feel masculine, needed, and wanted 1 minute, only to subtly undermine your confidence the next. One moment you are on cloud 9 because of the way she praises you, and the next you are left questioning your worth. This emotional manipulation is strategic, calculated, and learned over time. Here is the thing. Women who have had multiple partners are often experts in reading men. They know how to play off your insecurities, your need for validation, and they know exactly what buttons to press to keep you emotionally hooked. It is not authentic love or connection. It is more like a performance. It is more like a performance. She knows exactly when to give you praise and when to pull back. 1 minute, she is making you feel like you are the only man for her, and the next, she is withdrawing, keeping you emotionally off balance. And you might not even notice this manipulation at first because it is so subtle. It feels like perfect compatibility. But in reality, it is perfect manipulation. She has had enough experience to know how to navigate through relationships, and she has honed the psychological tools that make her irresistible, at least for a while. Her ability to make you feel special and valued only to pull away just enough to keep you chasing her is a tactic that keeps you emotionally invested while she gets what she needs. And trust me, this is not an accident. This is a pattern she has perfected over time. So what does this mean for you? Well, if you are constantly feeling mixed emotions, 1 minute she is showing you affection, and the next you are left feeling unsure, this is your red flag. If she is playing you emotionally, your connection is no longer about genuine intimacy. It is a game, and you are just another piece in it. Real love is not about playing emotional games. It is about genuine, mutual, emotional investment. And if you find yourself constantly trying to prove your worth, fighting for her validation, or chasing her approval, it is time to step back and take a good look at the bigger picture. This is not a healthy relationship dynamic, and it is not sustainable. She might seem like the perfect partner, engaging, charming, and affectionate, yet beneath it all, she is mastering manipulation through emotional tactics that keep you emotionally entangled. What is worse, she has done this with other men before. This pattern has been tested and refined, and you might be the one who falls into it without realizing it. The longer you stay, the more emotionally dependent you might become, until you are so deeply invested that walking away becomes harder and harder. Sign number 6. She is constantly testing you. If you find that she is always testing your loyalty, testing your emotions, or pushing your limits, this is a sign that she is emotionally unstable and unsure of herself. She may not do it intentionally, but she is testing you to see how much you will put up with. Women who have been through many relationships often feel insecure about their emotional worth. This insecurity drives them to test their partners, sometimes in subtle ways, other times in more overt ways. They are constantly looking for signs that you will not leave them, that you will not hurt them the way others have. But this constant testing is a sign of emotional instability, and it can be draining for you. You might find yourself in a constant cycle of proving your loyalty or your commitment, and it may feel like no matter what you do, it is never enough. That is because the problem is not with you. It is with her inability to trust. She has been hurt before, and now she projects that fear onto you, constantly testing you to see if you will abandon her. This behavior can lead to a lot of emotional manipulation. She might play hot and cold, sometimes acting distant to test if you will chase her, and other times acting overly clingy to see if you will stay. It is an emotional roller coaster that leaves you questioning the stability of the relationship. If you find yourself in this cycle, it is a red flag. Healthy relationships do not involve constant testing. A partner who genuinely trusts you will not feel the need to test you constantly. If she keeps pushing your emotional boundaries, it is a sign that she is still carrying emotional baggage from her past relationships. Sign number 7. A pattern of short-term relationships. This is perhaps the most telling sign of them all. If she has a history of hopping from one relationship to another without any long-term commitment or emotional depth, there is a reason behind that behavior, and it is not what you think. When a woman has been with many partners, her relationship history typically reads like a series of short, intense connections, each one followed by a quick end. These relationships often seem to have a natural conclusion, but when you step back and look at the bigger picture, a pattern begins to emerge. She might offer excuses. It just did not work out. We were too different, or I was not ready for commitment. But the reality is, these excuses are just that, excuses. The truth is, a woman who has consistently had short-term relationships is someone who has yet to develop the emotional skills required for long-term commitment. The excitement phase of a relationship is thrilling for her, but once the honeymoon phase fades, she struggles with the emotional maintenance that a deep, committed relationship requires. But why does this happen? Here is the harsh truth. Commitment requires vulnerability. And for women who have been through many relationships, it is easier to move on rather than face the emotional discomfort that comes with deep connection. They might have learned to detach emotionally from their partners after each failed relationship, creating a pattern of avoidance and escapism. It is easier to escape into the excitement of a new partner than to stay and face the work of a long-term, emotionally deep relationship. Her past relationships are like test runs. They are filled with intensity and excitement, but never long enough for her to feel the true weight of commitment. As soon as things start to feel like they might turn serious, she pulls back, either emotionally or physically. This creates a cycle of short-term relationships that never develop into something lasting. She might even say that she wants a long-term relationship, but her actions do not match her words. The truth is, her behavior shows a different story. She has never been in a relationship long enough to learn the tools necessary for sustained emotional connection. She runs when things get real, preferring to experience the excitement of a fresh start rather than the slow burn of building something lasting. So what does this mean for you? Well, it means that if you are in a relationship with her, you are likely caught in a cycle of emotional inconsistency. If she has never had a relationship last longer than 6 months, it is not bad luck. It is a pattern of behavior. She is avoiding commitment, and more importantly, she is avoiding emotional growth. But what about the future? Here is where it gets tricky. If she has a history of moving from one short-term relationship to another, she does not know how to invest in someone long enough to build the emotional infrastructure necessary for lasting commitment. She has yet to develop the tools for conflict resolution, emotional depth, and genuine attachment. She struggles with the progression from attraction to attachment, and when the initial intensity fades, she moves on rather than working through the challenges that come with a deeper emotional connection. This behavior isn't random. It is a pattern that suggests emotional unavailability, a fear of commitment, and an inability to grow emotionally. She might express a desire for a long-term relationship, but she is not equipped to sustain one. This is a crucial point, because no matter how much you might care for her, you cannot fix her patterns. It is a journey she has to take herself. So, here's the bottom line. If you have seen these signs in your relationship, it is time to face the truth. Emotional manipulation, emotional distance, and commitment issues. These patterns are dangerous, and they reveal something much deeper about her past. And no matter how much you might care about her, you cannot fix someone who isn't ready to change. You might be thinking, but what if I stick around and give her time to change? What if I am the one who can break through the emotional walls and get her to open up? Let me be clear. You cannot, no matter how hard you try. You cannot change someone's emotional patterns if they are not actively working on them. It is a painful truth, but it is the truth. This is about self-respect. It is about recognizing your worth and not settling for someone who is not emotionally ready to meet you halfway. If you are constantly feeling like you are giving more than you are receiving, if you are constantly questioning whether she is truly invested in the relationship, it is time to walk away. But how do I know if I am making the right choice? Here is how. Trust your gut, your emotions, your instincts. They are your internal compass. If you feel like you are in a relationship where you are always left questioning, always feeling like you are the one doing all the emotional heavy lifting, then the relationship is already unbalanced. No relationship should leave you constantly questioning where you stand, where things are going, and whether or not you are being emotionally valued. I know it's hard to walk away. Leaving someone you have invested time and emotional energy in isn't easy, but it is essential for your own well-being. You are not giving up. You are choosing to move forward. You are choosing to find someone who is emotionally ready for what you are offering, a genuine connection, a mutual bond, and a healthy, lasting relationship. And here is the thing. When you walk away from something that isn't right for you, you make space for something better. When you choose to value yourself, when you stop settling for emotional manipulation and emotional games, you allow room for someone who will appreciate and reciprocate the love and commitment you bring to the table. So, what's next for you? Take this lesson with you. Recognize the red flags. Recognize when someone's patterns suggest that they are not emotionally capable of giving you the depth and connection you deserve. Do not waste time trying to change someone who is not ready to change. Focus on yourself. Keep working on your own emotional health and well-being. And when the time is right, you will find someone who is ready to invest in you fully.